Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Katrina Ness, joined by Ted Ings, and we have two special guests joining us here today talking about university and the education within the dealership. So we have Bill Demaree from the Tom Wood Automotive Group and Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Super to be here.
Bill and Ed, fascinating to hear the things you're working on with your respective universities. Tom Wood University, Bozard University. Katrina and I had a chance to spend some time recently, Ed, with you in St. Augustine and your team. I want to come to you first, Ed, and then over to Bill. Ed, why did you decide to do this? What was the need? And give us some backstory and paint some of that for us, if you don't mind.
Well, I've been in the business now, I'm going to date myself, 34 years. And from day one, walking into this industry, we talked about there being a technician shortage. And so our program entirely started from creating our own technicians, creating a development program to create technicians. And we started that in 2015. And but then with the success from that, when you focus on it and you chase those elements down, it says, well, why do we need to stop there? Because our biggest challenge within these stores, period, and really in any industry, is having the right people. And if we can build the right people throughout, then we can give people not only a chance to have a job, but a chance to have a career. And so we continue to enhance that. So it started with a tech development program. Then that shifted to BTI, which is Bozard Technical Institute, which is housed inside of Bozard University. And now we have leadership training, culture, the how to cultivate culture, the sales training, Bozard Technical Institute. It's just a housing of any type of development so that we can create positions, prepare people to be ready for any position at any time. So they can be working in one role today and preparing for the role that they desire to be in tomorrow.
Very good. And Bill?
Yeah, so I'm a little behind the eight ball from Ed. I have been in the business about 39 years, and it's something I've always had a desire to, because a lot of people trusted in me and coached me along over the years, and I've never forgotten that. And I always said if I had the opportunity to reach a hand and introduce to an inner city young person that never dreamed of a career opportunity that they could have with us. So we started kind of doing a little bits of that, and we jumped into it probably 8 years ago and failed miserably. It seemed like every year what we were doing just wasn't working until finally last year we got really serious. I kept hearing about the technician shortage, and I always push back and challenge as we don't have a technician shortage. We have a technician supportage problem. We're not supporting that industry enough, and we can all complain and talk about it and boo-hoo us, or we can do something about it. So that's how we created the Tom Wood University. We're just a year old in getting it and having technician training. We have service advisor training on deck for next year. We'll be training high school students. We have 20 high school students graduating our program this year. We have 30 coming in behind. We're meeting with ICAR. We're looking at the body technology as well. We have adopted EOS platforms for leadership training through our program. So we hope to grow up and be like the Bozarts and have the whole package underneath one roof, that any position that you want to learn, we can coach it and we can help you get there.
That's
So don't let Bill undersell himself, because whether he's a year into it or 20 years into it, he's chased the right elements with accreditation and all the things that really dumps fuel on the fire. So he's selling himself short there a little bit.
Yeah, and both of you have come such a long way, and you have an amazing program in place now. And Bill, you were saying, it wasn't always like that when you guys first started it. For years and years, it wasn't what you expected. So what did it look like then, and really what steps and what best practices kind of took you to where you are now?
Yeah, I think it's getting the right people surrounded. Number one, it has to start with ownership. If Jeff would not allow this, it would never happen. And to have a visionary of an owner that allows us to do what we get to do every day in this great industry of the automotive sector, that all goes to Jeff Wood. Number two, he is passionate about it as well. He sees the opportunity of the next generation And, how do we get them prepared? Do we just throw them to the wolves, like we've done? So by getting the right person, we ended up hiring an instructor from a local technical college. He had been there 5 years. He was unhappy. They were making him work night shift. He's got a young family. And when I heard about him, it took just a small amount of him and I being on a telephone conversation at 8 o'clock at night that he was in my office the very next morning. We shook hands before he left and had a deal. And all it was is, would you like to build something very special our way, not the school's way, but the Tom Wood way in the right way? And if you want to be a part of that, I want you on my team. And he just couldn't wait to say yes. And I just had a one-on-one with him today. We do quarterly one-on-ones, and I always ask him, are you still in it? You still love it? And he just laughs like, would you quit asking me that? I'm having fun. I love this. And to get to see the next generation, the young kids thrive with what he's presenting them. And he sees the vision of what we're going to build. And he's asking me, I promised him a new facility. And he asked again today, where are we at with the facility? So I have one. We are preparing for renovation of one of our buildings to make it the standalone Tom Wood University. So we have one space to house this great thing that we're doing.
That's amazing. That growth is so exciting. And it truly does show that you need that champion or that owner of a process to really get it in place, because sometimes it can just kind of fall through the weeds. And I love the passion that he's grown into for that too. And that's just a fantastic story, Bill. It is.
And I believe that the fruits are in the results, okay, that both of you gentlemen are showing at your respective organizations. And I want to ask you, how does Bozard University differ than the type of training or development programs that most dealerships rely on? How is this different? Because it is different.
Well, and like Bill said, we have to contribute to the concern that's out there. And the concern is I say very similar to what Bill said, that there's not a technician shortage. There's a shortage of technician development programs. We don't develop our guys. And so we chase these ones that we feel like maybe they're unhappy somewhere else and whatever. Well, the real issue is they haven't chose to fit in where they're at for whatever the reasons may be. And then they bring those issues here, and it's just different. There is no perfect job, but this is a pretty doggone good one. And probably sometimes where they're at is a pretty doggone good one, but they get locked in on the things that they don't like. And so what we end up doing is retrading people back and forth through our stores, because we don't have any other source. We're only looking for people that can hit the ground running. And when you give someone an opportunity that never thought they would get one, and you train them from the ground up, not only are they're loyal to you because they appreciate the opportunity that you gave them. And it's like Bill talked about, it's reaching down and giving them a hand and pulling them up. And then they'll surprise you with what they can bring to the table to continue to enhance that. And Bill talked about it comes from the top down, and it does. The vision has to come from somewhere, but then someone has to facilitate that, and then someone else has to bring that to life. And Bill's a facilitator and bringing those pieces together, and then this gentleman that he's hired is bringing it to life. And same thing here. When you tie those elements together, it's like our slogan on Bozard University. It's win from within. I didn't come up with that. And that was actually one of the guys that when we was putting this together, let's toss this around and let's create a tagline for it. And we was tossing around different things. And the most introverted guy that was in the room as part of that group says, well, what about one from within? And it was perfect. Say it again. And it just fits. And it becomes their baby. They had a part in creating it. And when they have a part in creating it, they're going to support it. And so it compounds itself.
Sure.
And then what do? They go tell their friends that, hey, you have an opportunity over here. There's no need to go to wherever. Let's come here. And we work with 2 technical schools, and so we don't want to challenge them, but what we want to do is elevate what they do for those kids as well. So we want to take their baseline, because that now becomes their baseline, and raise it from there. And so a lot of times these guys will leave these tech schools will still not have the confidence that they can do it. And then when they can leave that and come into our program, it raises the confidence level. And still, they may come here and only work on cars for a couple of years because they see the programs that's inside of Bozard University and realize, well, I like cars, and think that they can make a living on a hobby, but that doesn't necessarily translate well. And they shift to becoming a salesperson, or they shift to something else. And
Okay.
there's just different avenues they can take, and it creates that pipeline for them.
And Bill,
Yeah.
same question for you. How is it different than typical dealership training? And I notice you have a focus on interns. If you might want to mention that and tell us about that as well.
Yeah, so we've decided to start this out focusing specifically on high school kids, and we identified 4 local high schools with no connection to a career center. And if you can imagine, you've got kids in high schools jumping up and down saying, I want to learn about automotive, and the school can't support that because there's no career center, because unfortunately skilled trades went away, right? And now they're trying to figure out how to bring skilled trades back. So we worked it out with an organization called Pursuit Indiana, which helped us facilitate to become the career center of these 4 high schools. So when you have, I think we started off with over 50 high school kids that said, hey, I want to be a part of this. So we had an open house with their parents, showed them what this could look like. That kind of dwindled down to the top 25. We brought in 25, 20 made it, which I think is fantastic. We want to know, and you want to know, is this what you want to do? So these are juniors and seniors. So it's kind of testing the model of this is what I want to do. And out of the 13 seniors, 11 are graduating, and 9 of them are signing on full-time employment when they graduate next month. Way higher than what we thought it would be. We're like, if we can get 20-40% of these, we're going to be real excited. So at NADA, we teamed up with Sonic Tools. I have a tool chest for every single one of them. We have uniforms for every single one of them, and we're trying to support this over a 6-year journey for them. So they are high school, but we have accredited programs, dual core credits through the state of Indiana. They certified our program, and we partnered up with Vincennes University to get the accreditation. We're working on now what is next, what's after that. So obviously Northward University is on our conversation panel of, is this the next step? Is Indiana Wesleyan the next step? And we want to give them options if they want to continue the education, or do they want to stay in the OEM? We have 13 automotive brands that they can sprinkle through, and we could do the OEM training there. But being very specific about what we're training. Number one, it's our core values. You have to meet our core values. You have to GWC, we call it. You get it, you want it, you have the capacity to do the job. And once you meet all that, then you can be a part of our program.
Wow.
Get it, want it, capacity. Sorry. That was good. I like that.
Yeah, no, you're good. Bill, talk to us about this accreditation. What kind of does this mean to the employees, to their futures, to their growth? And then Ed, I kind of want to hear your perspective on that too, and how Bozard University and your technical institute kind of differs from that as well.
Yeah, since it's a high school program, when I went to high school, you could go to automotive classes, and I did, but I didn't get college credits for it, right? So what we've learned over the past, 10 years, a lot of colleges have said, hey, we would like to, if you can get hands-on training and we can see the curriculum that you're teaching, we will give you the credits, college credits, while you're in high school. So that's the area that I went down. We haven't gotten to what comes, after that versus mentorships in the stores. They cannot be in one of my stores unless we have a mentor shop foreman and a plan to keep them on the training path. So they don't get pushed out to be a carport or something. They're actually in the shop working and learning their trade. So by handling it through the high school level, coming out graduated with college credits that can be transferred for a business degree, you can transfer for whatever you wish for the state of Indiana, I think has been very helpful for us. Certainly for the parents, they can appreciate our industry a little better, and it allows them to get involved with, hey, my son or daughter wants to be an automotive technician, and we're going to get college credits toward it, and we're going to team them up with other college and support them through this endeavor with no debt. We're paying for everything. So, and I pay them. So if they're a senior, I pay them $16 an hour while they're in high school to come and sit through my program. So it kind of gets them interested in realizing that money can be made in the automotive space. This could be a great career for them.
Wow, that's fantastic. And like you were saying, Bill, like even in movies, and I've heard stories about how there used to be shops in school and more hands-on learning and mechanical training and that aspect. But I mean, I didn't have that in my high school, and I'm sure it's just continuing to become even more rare and go away. So that the fact that you guys have implemented a program that's not only benefiting the students and getting them that career experience and helping them figure out what they want to do, but it's also helping the technician shortage that is just a lack of support and a lack of growth opportunity. So you guys have really, hit that key point, and I'm glad that you've had that state assistance too in the
Well, and
accreditation.
it's helping the industry. There,
Yeah,
I have 30 more high school kids starting. There's no way I can, hire 54, some students. So my hope is I'm sprinkling this education across the city of Indianapolis or wherever they chose, and maybe they'll move to Jacksonville, Florida, and they can come work at Bozard. But these kids are going to be great kids, well-rounded, ready to go, and have these credits, have a little bit of background for 2 years in this industry. So Indiana, I believe if there's a shortage here, we're all crazy because we're going to be producing a lot of great young folk into this.
That's
that's
outstanding. So very similar here. We work with high schools as well. Not all of
yeah,
them can go through the technical programs or technical schools. So there's pass from they come straight through here. No matter whether you go through the technical school or you come straight out of high school, you still have to start in quick lane, and you have to show us that you can elude the elements of what we look for to fit our culture and to fit in here at Bozard Ford Lincoln. So that's kind of an extension of our interview. And if you've went through one of the technical schools, you're probably going to spend less time in quick lane. There's no guarantees of that. It depends on you got certain criteria you got to meet. And if you're in high school and you come straight in, usually you're there 8 to 14 months before you can graduate. But everything's a graduation. It's a level up. It's a level up. So Quick Lane is my only non air conditioned shop. They were non-climate controlled shop. The next step up is they move into a climate controlled shop, but it is at night. And the next step up is they move into a transition team. And in Quick Lane, they clean their own bays and they wash and vacuum the cars that they work on. When they graduate from there, they don't have to clean their bays anymore. They don't have to wash and vacuum. So everything's a step up. And same with sales. When someone goes through the programs of that, they have to earn their way to the floor, and they have to earn their way to the internet office, and they have to earn their way. Then they have to maintain those things. So it sets those levels of expectations. And then it's kind of a self-grading thing there as well. We need to engage with our people, but when they know what the criteria that they have to meet to go to the next level, then the expectations are being set, and it's just up to us to keep encouraging them to get to that next level and not settle.
yeah. And that growth process and that vision is truly important, especially being young and trying to, even in my shoes, like trying to figure out what career path a student would want to go down, having those, different tiers and ways you can climb up. That's very helpful.
Ed, did you say you do not have state funding there?
We do not have state funding here, and there may be some programs that I just haven't chased after, and I admire Bill for doing that. But he's inspired me to go out and chase some of that. A friend of mine's also done it over in Texas, and I need to see if those programs are there because for the longest time we was forcing people to go out and get these 4-year degrees. And
Yeah.
yes, we need people to do that, but we need a variety of skilled talent out there as well. And we wasn't necessarily pushing that, but now the there's programs out there to help create some skilled positions too. And if that funding's out there, and if they can further enhance what we're doing here, I want to chase after it and build and enhance what we're doing.
But for the audience watching, that wouldn't hinder them from starting their own university, I guess is the point I want to make.
So for the audience, I want the audience to know that check into your state programs because there is probably programs to help you get started. A lot of times we think, well, that works for them and it won't work for us. Well, if you tell yourself that, you're correct. But if you tell yourself that, how can I go figure this out? And is there funding available? And what do I got to do to meet that funding? You'll find ways to put it together and find ways to continuously make it better.
I like
Hmm.
that. For both of you gentlemen, at what point did you know that you needed to take the next step and create an actual university, okay, at your organization? What was the tipping point? What got you there? What was the point that said, okay, because I've heard you say before, Ed, that people don't want to be trained, they want to be
Developed.
developed. That's your line, okay?
I love that.
Yes. Yeah, nobody wants to go to training, but ultimately, what opened the door for needing to do it is the audience out there a lot of times is running ads and telling people why they should come to work there. Well, their ads is just like the ads of where they're at. It's telling them why they should come to work there. And really, at the end of the day, they need to make ends meet. And what I don't want to do is go out and hire someone from another store, leave a hole there, and then them run an ad to pull somebody out of here. So rather than pull people back and forth, let's just feed the industry, just like Bill said. Let's dump more people in there because the industry needs it. And if we show that it can be done relatively, it can be repeated, then we're not talking about a technician shortage. We're talking about taking care of our customers. And that's what we should be talking about to begin with.
Wow. Wow,
Bill,
Ted,
does this sound, go ahead, Katrina.
these two are making an impact on our industry, Ted. They really, really are. Not only are they, flourishing in their own dealerships and in their own groups, but they're talking about the effects that this has on the whole industry. Bill's talking about how through his training program, he can't house all these technicians, but hoping that they'll go to others to make, again, the industry better. Ed, same with you. So this is truly fascinating.
So my last question for both of
Yeah.
you today. Here we are, middle of May, middle of the second quarter. Kids are graduating school right now. Katrina, I believe congratulations in order to you. You'll have a master's degree here shortly from Northwood University. Thank you for all that you do for the industry. And Northwood's such a big part of the industry. For your peers watching today, maybe Bill first and then Ed, what would you recommend they keep an eye on or look at doing or start on between now and the end of the year? Because what a great time to get in our industry. And we need the people, we need that pipeline. You gentlemen already have a head start with what you're doing. Bill first and then Ed, for your peers listening and watching today.
I think if you look at your turnover, look at your retention, if you're seeing a constant turnover, and as Ed mentioned, and I love that because I feel the same way, if you're running the same ad that everybody else is running and you get that superstar that's not a superstar that comes over, it jumps in and taints your entire culture, you got a problem. This is a long play. This isn't like a fix today or tomorrow. This is a fix for the industry, and it's a fix for your store long term. My goal is effective this summer. We will have no more rehires unless it's like a really weird thing that happened. We just lost a service advisor that his comment was, I hope to get back. My comment back to him was, unfortunately, we have ceased all rehires. We are training people from the ground up, students that really want the position that you have. And that's what we're going to be filling. And if you can get to that point, self-sustain your own employees of the future, the problems of the world of running all these marketing ads and commercials and signs everywhere just go away. Now, if somebody's moving here from, Jacksonville, Florida, they want to come to beautiful Indiana, I'm all in to have that conversation, but no more trading from stores.
Ed?
Yeah, our opportunity is to give to the industry, and technicians or any skilled position, really their career looks like a horsepower band where it kind of ramps up for this period of time, and then they're learning, and then it levels off to where they can't work any harder, but they're still learning, but their body starts to slow down on them, and they start to drop off. And it's not that they've lost any ability. They've actually still gained ability to do things. They just can't do it at the same rate. And when they start to hit that plateau or that peak, and we can shift them and convince them that, hey, let's get back to this industry and turn them into trainers, then really we take that, what would have been the peak, and continue to climb it up, because not only are they doing it for themselves, but they're doing it for the industry. And if the guys that I have doing it and was doing it, some that's retired now, it extended their career another 5 to 7 years, where they was planning on winding down.
Sure.
But once we took that physical aspect off of them, then they was able to train that talent to and expand that. So one person creates 10, and when that one person creates 10, that's when we win.
Yeah. Well said.
Very well said. All right. We'll leave it there. Ed Roberts at Bozard Ford Lincoln, Bozard University. Ed, there's a website we can visit. I think it's bozardu.com.
Bozardu.com. We'll welcome anyone to check it out and find ways to duplicate it. And don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be glad to help you any way I can.
I love it. And Bill Demaree at Tom Wood Automotive Group, Tom Wood University. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. And Katrina, thank you for all you do for the industry as well.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us on this panel. Very educational, a lot of takeaways, and I can't wait for the audience to enjoy it as much as I know Ted and I did.